Shalom Aleichem, this is Rabbi Kovacs, continuing the Mishnah Yomi. We just started the fourth chapter, Eiruvin, yesterday, so we are in chapter 4, Mishnah number 2. Pam achat lo nichnasu lenamol ad shechashecha. One time the boat didn't make it back to port until shkiah on Friday evening. Now recall yesterday we discussed that the sages had been traveling by boat to and from Italy, probably to go to Rome and beseech the Romans to stop oppressing the Jews or to bribe them for such purposes. And they were traveling by boat as was necessary, and there were different shittas about the techum regarding a boat. Now here, the problem was it was Friday, and the sailors were trying to get to port before Shabbos, and they were sort of rolling into port right at Shabbos, as sometimes we do Friday evening mincha erev Shabbos, as we kind of slide into shul right at Ashrei, God willing. So Amr lo Rabban Gamliel. So the other sages, they asked Rabban Gamliel, Ma anu lered? Could we actually get off the boat? Meaning, were we in the techum when shkiah hit and it became Shabbos? Amr lahen mutter etem. He says, yes, it's mutter. Shekvar haiti mistakel. I was observing. I was staring at the techum. We were in the techum of the port city. We were in 2,000 amos within the edge of the city when shkiah hit. So their techum was the same as the techum of the city. And therefore, they're allowed to get off the ship. We saw a Mishnah in Shabbos that if the non-Jews made a gangplank for them to walk down, the Jews could use it as well. But if they made it davka for the Jews to get off the boat, then the Jews should not use it on Shabbat. So this is a case where there are non-Jewish sailors making a gangplank for their own use. That was Mishnah in Shabbos. So here they can get off the boat and walk around within this port city in the Namal on Shabbos because they're within the techum. So how does he know? So the Mefarshim said that Rabban Gamliel had sort of a tube with markings in it to find the range, or some explain that this tube was set at a certain angle that if you looked through it, that the edge of the horizon was 2,000 amos. It was sort of a range finder, like you might have in some fancy binoculars or spotting scopes or something like this, that ended at 2,000 amos, so he could see exactly where the techum ended and was observing as they were rolling into port to make sure they were within the techum. On to Mishnah Gimel with more techum-related topics. Misha Yotza Birshus, somebody left the techum with permission, for an allowed reason. Ve'amru, and they told him, Kvar naseh maisa, what you've left to accomplish, it's already been done. So, for example, the Barnura says they went out to testify to seeing the new moon. So they were going to go to court and testify, we saw the new moon, so the Bezdin could be Mekadesh, the new Chodesh, the Rosh Chodesh. We're going to learn in the Mishnayot and Rosh Hashanah that this was allowed. People were allowed to leave their techum Shabbos and walk to the Bezdin on Shabbos to testify about seeing the new moon. So they had reshut to do it, but then they told them, hey, the Bezdin already sanctified the new moon. They already accepted Eidim. You're not needed. So they left with permission, but what they needed to do was already done. So Yeshlo alpayim amalachol ruach. So they still have 2,000 amot in every direction from the place they are now. They still have 2,000 amot. They're not limited to 4 amot as we saw in the last parak. Another example we saw in the Mishnah in Shabbat is a midwife could be summoned for a delivery even outside of the techum. They could go and bring her. Also, rescue missions, the soldiers, chayalim, who are on a mission, or people who are coming to help with rescue people from a collapsed building or the like. Of course, they are allowed to go past the techum to save a life, pikuach nefesh. The Mishnah concludes, Im haya b'tocha techum, if he hadn't left his original techum yet, kilo yatsa, he has the original default techum of his city. Shekola yotzim l'hatzel, anyone who goes out to save, to rescue, chozunim come on, they can go back to their original residence. If they're going out to help people, provide medical assistance, rescue, they're allowed to go back. This is actually nogeya for hatzola, that there are tshuvas, I think Rav Moshe and others have tshuvas that the drivers of the Hatzalah ambulance, that on Shabbos they go and they take someone to the hospital, they take someone to provide medical assistance, that they're allowed to go back. They can go back home or go back to the station on Shabbos, the poskim say, because then they're available to save more people. And this is a similar concept here in our Mishnah about techumin. Shkiah, be well.